Hi. Welcome to part two of well, our lecture on depression and crisis in Marxian economics. And in this part, we will basically talk on as the first thing on what Keynes has actually wrote on some inputs which will help crisis. And basically, Keynes famously describes the investment behavior of the companies, investors basically, as the main problem which is likely to lead to a crisis. And he basically sees stock market as the main example, main, let's say, model of those investments. And the way he describes the stock market is actually the core of his his, let's say, contribution to the crisis theory. And there, he likened the stock market to the investment behavior of the in the stock market to a beauty contest. But that beauty contest is not like a beauty contest where basically the people, the usually women, I don't know whether there's a male beauty contest, but maybe there is. But anyway, let's say women come to the podium, and then jury gives them points, and then you choose the most beautiful. People choose most beautiful woman. This is rather like in England at the time. There were beauty contests made in the newspapers where you had pictures of various women, and then people, the readers of the newspapers, choose the most beautiful among them, and then when the most beautiful woman is chosen, there is actually the among the people who have chosen that particular woman, some of them will get a prize by chance, basically. So if you want to get the prize, you don't choose the woman you actually think most beautiful. You rather choose the woman you think most people will think as most beautiful. And basically, you might actually even go to third layer of the problem. And if everyone is acting like you, then you think, but everyone else think who will think the majority would think the most beautiful woman. So you might have three layers of thinking. But anyway, he describes the most of the investors are in the stock market are acting like a herd behavior. They see a stock is rising up, they just invest on this stock. They see a stock is going down, they just sell that stock. So they don't act rationally, they don't act with thinking, they don't act with analysis. They just look to whether prices are going down and prices are going up, or prices are going down. And here we see something. Actually, we would not expect people looking to the prices of the stocks as the main indicator, but we would rather expect people looking to the profitability of the companies as the main variable to look at before investing in those stocks. But rather they look to the prices, and that shows also many of them are actually seeing the prices as a major source of profit, which means actually they want to buy the stock cheap, and then they want to sell the stock at a higher price. That's how you, even conventionally, if you ask many people how to make profit from the stock market, you don't make profit from the stock market by buying a stock and then getting profit share, and those profit shares make you rich. You got rich from the stock market if you buy at the right time at a cheaper price, and then sell at a price and the stock's price is high. But that's against the conventional knowledge. The profitability of the company becomes irrelevant for you if you are doing that. You are just looking to the price increases. But we are not experts in the stock market. I mean, most people are not people whose jobs is analyzing the stock market, basically. What about experts? That's what Keynes asks. And then he replies, experts are not experts in calculating profitability of the companies. Experts are rather people who are expert on knowing when a stock price will rise and when the stock price will fall. So they know how to observe this price behavior best and basically make most profit from this price behavior, not from the profitability of the company again. So profitability of the company for the whole stock market becomes mostly irrelevant in this case. People observe price movements. So what happens in this case, according to Keynes? Well, without any rationality, people become optimistic by seeing the price of a stock is slowly rising up. And people, when they become optimistic, then when after this slow increase, they rush to that stock. Those stocks, not one stock necessarily. When they see in general they rise up, they rush to all stocks. They buy those stocks, and the price of stocks starts to rise up again, rise up at a fast pace. So that's the case of optimism. And when people rush and buy stocks, that means the companies are able to sell some of their stocks and get some revenue for their investments. High revenue for the investments because the price of their stocks will be high. Other way around, sometimes a slight decrease in prices may suddenly make people pessimistic, and they might all sell their stocks, and then the prices of the stocks might fall to very low values, and companies may be lack of funds for investments. And those lack of funds of investments means they won't be able to invest, so they won't be able to grow. The demand for investment will go down, and this might create a crisis because they will lay out people. Those people will decrease their demand further. So in the end, the prices will initiate in that case. So investors are irrational. Prices in stock market move up and down for no particular reason. But when they move down, even though there is no reason, it may create a crisis. But it doesn't have a regularity in this case, actually. This view of case was later formed into a cyclic crisis model. But in Keynesianism itself, you don't have a cyclic model. You have crises that can start very suddenly and they might end suddenly. So before going into further back to Marx, actually, we will see that particular model, which actually has used Keynesian views and actually created a crisis model in investment market. Well, the model is beautiful. It also actually has banks in, and it has also a developed version which has governments in. But we will mainly see what's happening in the investment market. Maybe briefly I might discuss the other issues also. Well, in financial parts, actually, I will also discuss the financial contribution of the financial system of the crisis. But unfortunately, because of the corona break, I had to drop down the financial chapters. So we lack that chapter, unfortunately. So, according to Minsky, you have two different types of investors. One is the regular investors. Regular investors care for the profitability of the companies, which might be outside of the stock market also. You have Ponzi investors. You might have heard, if you are Turkish, basically. There's a new TV series called Babyl, where they kind of talk on the Ponzi investors, but they don't basically talk in much detail of the Ponzi investment type. Briefly, maybe introduce to Ponzi scheme, but it can be different types of Ponzi scheme. And the most important thing about Ponzi investments is it is actually mostly it is really profitable. But the there are different actual types of Ponzi investments, let me say. And the one kind, the common characteristic of Ponzi investments, it is unsustainable. It can bring profit to one investor, and that one investor might earn a lot of money. But investors as a whole are bound to lose from Ponzi investments. And that's the main characteristics of the Ponzi investors, actually. And in order to remain profitable, you need this continuous flux of new investors, with old investors staying. Well, old investors might bring additional funds, but you only have so much funds in the market. So in the end, you won't have any additional investors that would come to that type of investment. And that's the problem of the Ponzi investors. That's why the people who organize Ponzi investment companies, if it's a company, are very aggressive, because any pessimism, any critique might basically make people to have a cold feet and stop investing in those companies. But if you stop investing in those companies, then without additional investors, Ponzi scheme will dry out early. I mean, it will, in the end, certainly finish. But if it finishes too early, in that case, I mean, the founder of the Ponzi investor company might not benefit from it. But if it ends later, that one founder and some investors who are early investors might actually profit from it. Anyway, well, Minsky models the stock market in this way. You have 4 stages. In the first stage, you have prices low, and regular investors are more common. So this is just after the crisis, where prices were falling. When prices are falling, actually Ponzi investors are not able to profit from the market. Why? Because they profit only when prices are rising, by buying cheap, selling at a higher price. But regular investors come in, they increase the profitability of the companies after the crisis, and as profitability of the companies increase, in that case, basically the prices of the stocks starts to rise. But when price of the stocks starts to rise, this gives Ponzi investors an ability to profit. Well, as a result, Ponzi investors will come to the market, and as prices rise up, the dividend, the profit share you got from those companies, well, that's the other thing in the stage 1, actually. When the prices are low, the dividends, the profit share you get, will be relatively high compared with the price. But when prices start to rise, the money you need to pay will be higher compared with the dividend you will begin to get. As a result, regular investors start to get out. And note that those regular investors, some of them might turn to the Ponzi investors. They might just not care for the profit share, but just the prices. Well, at some point, regular investors will be completely out. They might have turned to the Ponzi investors. Note that. And you will have Ponzi investors dominant in the market. But at some point, they only care for price share. At some point, you don't have new investors, so the prices won't be able to rise any further. And the Ponzi investors, they just care for the price rises, the price increase. And the prices will only continue to increase as new investors come, so the Ponzi investors could sell their stocks for a higher price to the new investors. But at some point, the new investors won't come. The prices will be so high, no one won't be able to buy that stock, even if they think it's profitable. At some point, prices will stagnate, maybe slightly fall. And at that point, the Ponzi investors will panic. They will sell all their stocks, and you will have a stock market with decreasing prices. The company is stripped of funds, and a crisis will start, basically. Now, we will talk more in in detail of this model, but in the next part.